Today we're going to color in our little sketch turtle design. And you can find this design as a free design on Applique Corner Fanatics Facebook group page. If you're not a member of Applique Corner Fanatics, just simply visit that webpage, that Facebook webpage, and ask to join, and we will add you as a member. And if you will look at the top of that page, underneath the files section, there are all sorts of free designs. I try to give one every week or two, and this one is under the free designs, and it's called Sketch Turtle. So I've picked my Copic markers for this project, and the greens I'm going to be using are a yellow green, and they are YG00, YG03, and YG06. And we're going to start with the green, and then we're going to give him some little blue dots in just a little bit. You always want to start with your lightest color, and I prefer the brush tip or the sketch tip. I'm going to give him some highlight at the top of his shell. As well as in the center of his feet. The center of his tail, and some highlighting on his sweet little face right here. We can give him a little bit right here on his neck. There we go. Okay. A little extra for good measure. Now the next color is YG03. Remember, in a previous video, we were always discussing you want to pick colors from the same color family, and these are all YG, which is yellow-green, and you want to pick all markers for blending and shading with the first number the same. All of these are 0, and that's a blending group. So you know they're going to blend well and look great together. I'm going to be using 3 different greens. So you always want to start with the lightest and then color with the medium, and then move to the darkest for your shading. And Copic markers are very pure in their color. You can go over the same area over and over. It might just get a hair darker, but it's going to stay true to its color. You can always practice on a piece of paper before you get started on your fabrics. Go around and get much of the color on there. And remember, we've got one more color to go. You might or might not want to keep your item hooped and your embroidery hoop as you color. I don't mind it so much. I actually like for it to stay taut. It pulls it nice and tight for me so the fabric doesn't move around too much. You could pin it, but you do want to put something underneath because these markers will bleed through. So you can put some poster board or a stack of paper or something like that if you'd like. My markers are fairly new, so I'm going just up to the edge, but I'm going to be careful not to touch the edge as closely as I might think, because the markers might move just a little bit on you, or the ink might move just a little bit on you. I'm going to try to color upside down, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do, but hopefully you can see a little bit better. You see how when you color with the Copic markers, you can, at first you can see your strokes, and if you'll let it sit for just a second and let that ink do the job for you, do its work, it will blend very nicely. That's what I love about these markers. You can refill them, and you can also replace, these are called nubs, or the tips, if you will. Get a little bit closer in. Now we've got one more color to go. There are a few little spots that I would like to touch up and get a little bit closer to the edge. Now again, we're not looking for perfection. You can let children do this. You could go as fast or slow as you'd like. And a little bit of a watercolor effect is just fine. Each one is going to be as individual as we are. Alright. Now, let me get the next green, yellow green, which is YG06. And for this one, I'm going to put some darker green on mostly the left side or the edges of things. Put some shading down here. And I have some on his tail. As long as you stick to these color families and blending groups, matching that first letter, or matching the letters, and matching that first number, you really can't go wrong. That numbering system takes all the guesswork out of it. Copic has done the thinking for you. And he's really coming along. I know one of you told me today on Facebook that your grandson told you that turtles were his favorite animal. And I have to say they're one of my favorites too. Okay. Now, one of the secrets with the Copic markers is you have one of the markers is a 0, and it's a colorless marker, number 0. These work well with other markers, but work best with Copic markers for blending and shading. And if you have a spot that you would like for it to be a little bit lighter, it will actually lift some of that color out. If you have a little boo-boo and you've gone out of the lines a little bit, it will actually lift some of that color out for you. I'm just going to put a little bit of highlighting right in there. Now, I'm going to go back and visit the lightest of the colors of the green to blend this area. They look really well together, but they could be blended a little bit. So we're going to add a little bit more color. And if you use the lightest of the markers, it does a great job. Okay, a little bit closer. Now we're really going to make this little guy pop and add some blue to him. Now for the blues, I've chosen B00, B02, and B05. And I'm going to take the B00 and just add just a little bit in the center of each, a very little bit. The next shade is B02. As you can see, these go fairly quickly. They stitch out in a matter of minutes, some of them as quickly as about 5 or 6 minutes, and they just take a few minutes to color in. Okay. The last of the blue is B05. And we're going to put just a little bit of a darker shade. How sweet it looks. Okay, and I'm just going to take my black, which is 100, and I'm going to give this little guy just some sweet little eyes. And there you have it. It's as simple as that.